baby, what is happening here on the roast on a Tuesday morning? Good morning to everybody out there getting off their graveyard shift. If you're at work, what is happening? Good morning to the overnight dances. Slow week. Maybe you need to get down to San Jose. Sit in a row.
August 1st, let's go.
It's the dog days, baby. The dog days in baseball.
Ooh.
The dog days are here. Who's going to wilt in August? Who's going to fade away? Who's going to thrive? Now, we've been making mistakes all over the place. That's fine. Trade deadline, 3 o'clock Pacific time. 3 o'clock Pacific time.
It's all right. Still make moves at 1 o'clock. Is Farhan going to make any move? AJ Pollock, really? That's not instilling a lot of confidence in me if I was a Giants fan.
Yeah.
It's not doing much. Not the sexiest names, but
yes.
J.D. Davis wasn't sexy last year, Bonte.
He wasn't. J.D. Davis has been a really good find.
He's been great.
J.D. Davis has been good. Wilmer Flores is tearing it up. Hopefully he could carry over his great July into August. But it feels like they need some reinforcements here.
Hey, Oscar Hernandez, there's been chirps, there's been chattering. The Giants could be interested in him. John Morosi, MLB Network, saying that. Justin Verlander, John Heyman was talking about that yesterday. Mm-hmm. Could be interested in that. So there's deals to be made. Will Farhan do them is the question.
No doubt. We will get back into the 49ers right after Dave Fleming. Niners talk will be back in the building. There's no doubt about it. Trey Lance has been talked about a lot. Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's, look, he is rusty. There's no doubt. I'm not even making an excuse. He is rusty. Right now, he's the leader of the clubhouse. But again, I hope everybody out by saying this. This shows I'm not going to be biased when it comes to the quarterback spot. I'm not.
No, it's no spin zone here.
I'm not going to spin any. I don't care. Brock Purdy won the job last year. He won it. But if he struggles in training camp, I don't want to hear that, hey, he's going up against the number one defense. Because that argument wasn't used for Trey Lance last year.
No.
You're going to struggle going up against Fred Warner and company. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But how does it look? Is there zip on the footballs? Is he making all the throws? Is he stretching the field? Is he checking it down? Is he throwing to the turf? We did yesterday.
Yeah. You just got to call it like you see it. And that's the thing. Just all I want from my media coverage, just tell me what happened.
Yeah.
I don't need your little spin on it or anything like that, but that's just a society, and that's a bigger question that we have to deal with, too.
No doubt. We'll get back into the 49ers in just a second, but let's talk about the Giants as it is deadline day, 3 o'clock Pacific time. And the Giants, look, coming off a very good series win against the Boston Red Sox. Very good win. By the way, we didn't get that sound, huh? We didn't get that sound before, Flem, huh? We didn't get that, huh? All right, well, pull it up. We'll play it at some point during the interview. We have David Fleming on, the voice of the Giants, of course. He does everything, a little bit of everything, college football, college basketball for ESPN, golf, of course, but he's been on the Giants call, of course, had a great weekend against the Red Sox when they won 2 of 3. But last night they struggled, and boy, I bet you the hitters, Flem, as you sway, good morning to you. Good morning, Flem. I know some of these hitters, Fed. I said, thank God July's over, because, boy, it was rough, including last night, 0-9 with runners in scoring position after a rough weekend with runners in scoring position against the Red Sox. Pitching is held up fine. It's the hitters now that's leaking oil for the Giants, Flem.
Yeah, it's true. Good morning. You can be, I think you can be very optimistic. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The Giants went 12-13 in July, which is not, that's not a great month, but they had the lowest OPS of any team in baseball. They scored the fewest runs per game of any team in baseball. Basically, all of the offensive numbers were the worst of every team, including Oakland and Detroit and Kansas City. The offense just disappeared for the month, and they almost went 500. So, to me, I think you can be optimistic about that. You just get impatient, like, when is it going to turn around? There are too many good, you look at that lineup, even missing a couple important pieces. There are just too many good hitters for it to continue like this. So hope that happens sooner rather than later, because last night was, of all the games, that was about as frustrating as any of them. They had way more chances than the Diamondbacks did, and I'm sure are feeling like they should have won that game before extra innings.
Hey, Dave, Joe Spadonian for Joe Shasky. I wanted to get your thoughts on AJ Pollock. Seems like this is the first move here for Farhan Zaidi. Maybe more today. Trade deadline at 3 o'clock. What did you make of Farhan going out and getting AJ Pollock, who's been struggling a little bit with the Mariners?
Yeah, he has not had a good year. I think, Farhan called it a change of scenery guy. I think as much as anything, I didn't talk to Farhan one-on-one about it, but I'm not saying that AJ is going to only be here for a week or something, but I think it's the kind of move, Estrada's coming back. You're already going to have to make a move to get somebody else off the roster. Mitch Haniger has made way quicker progress. Mitch is probably, he might be even 2 weeks away from being back in a big league game. So then you got another move to make, and Yastrzemski's going to probably just miss the minimum. So he just went on the injured list. He's probably going to come back right around that same time that Haniger will be back. So that's not to say that AJ can't stick around even after all that. I think ideally he swings the bat great, and you find a way to keep him around. But to me, it almost felt like Yastrzemski went on the injured list, and the Mariners had to make a roster move because they were making other trades, and so AJ Pollock was out there, and they just said, well, we need a guy for right now. So we'll see if there's another move to be made. I don't know. But I don't think anybody, it's not like, anybody's looking at AJ Pollock like, oh, well, that's the piece that's going to get us to the World Series. I don't think it's like that at all. It's more like, hey, this is a guy we know has talent, has been a good player. He's not having a good year, but can we grab him and see if he could help us this week when we face a couple lefties? I think that's more the idea.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Need a little Band-Aid here. Some of the guys are beat up. Of course, Mike Yastrzemski going on the IL. He's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with the hammy. Do we need to worry, Flem, about the Giants' opener strategy overtaxing his bullpen?
I don't think so. I do think that it has been taxed here in the last couple days. But that includes, the start that Logan Webb made. Tonight, or last night rather, would have been Alex Cobb, and he just wasn't feeling well. So part of it was a little bad luck that instead of staggering those opener days, they've had to stack them up one on top of the other. The main thing that's happened is the offense hasn't scored, so every single game is like last night, right. It's just agonizing, and you have 2 straight 11-inning games. I guess you can worry a little bit about overuse, but if it's me, what I've been doing is been amazed at how effective it's been. It's been an amazingly effective year when the Giants have done that. Every single time they do it, it seems to me, they're in the game and have a chance to win the game, and they've won the vast majority of those games. So it's hard for me to believe that you could be unhappy with the way that it's played out. I guess it's fair if you want to worry a little bit about the workload, but I'm focusing more on just the bottom line results, which have been spectacular.
So there's going to be a lot of movement today, Dave. Obviously, people are getting trade deadline at 3:00 here, West Coast time. And we keep talking about, change of scenery. Do you think a change of scenery benefits a player more often than not? So we're looking at a guy like Lance Lynn, right? Dodgers are expecting him to, come in and be a legit starter for him, but he's struggled a lot with the White Sox this past season. Do you really believe a change of scenery can help a guy like that heading down the stretch?
I think do I think it happens all the time? No, I don't. But I do think there is something to, especially, I would say especially a guy like Lance Lynn, who's been in so many pennant races and has been on so many good teams, and then just finds himself on a team this year that was having a miserable year. I think players like that who've been around a long time can get a jolt by coming back into a pennant race. There's just a little extra focus, extra adrenaline. Sometimes some of those players get some contract motivation. Hey, this is a chance for me to, prove I can still do it. I don't totally buy that all the time, but I think every once in a while that can happen. Most of the time, I think when something like that happens, I think it's more just random good timing. I guess I would say this. If I'm acquiring a player that has a long track record of success and this year hasn't gone great, I do think that in this sport, at the end of these seasons, more often, your numbers get close to what they usually are. Right. You have up years and you have down years. But I guess that would be my theory if I was a GM making moves like that. Like, you know what? This guy's good. He's not over the hill. The underlying skills are still there. We've scouted those. By the end of the year, I bet you the numbers will look more normal, and that means, at some point a hot streak is coming. So whether it's pitching or hitting. So maybe that would be my philosophy on those change of scenery kind of guys. More like, hey, it hasn't happened yet this year. It's bound to happen at some point.
Dave Fleming here on the Morning Roast on 95.7. The game, of course, the Giants are going to face Zach Gallen today at All-Star. He started the All-Star game for the National League, so they have their work cut out for them again. But one guy that we've been eager to see for so many years, Marco Luciano. So what are your first impressions of Marco Luciano wearing that number 37?
I think they've been good. I number one, he's faster than I thought he was. He looks really athletic. I know he's had some back problems, which is always a little nerve-wracking when a guy's that young and already having back issues. But he looks young, athletic. I think his defense has been way better than advertised. Like, I kept reading this stuff from scouts like, oh, Luciano, well, they're playing him at short, but that's just a waste of time. He's going to have to move off of shortstop. I mean, I don't know. 21 years old. He's making backhanded plays. He's showing a strong arm. He's moving. I think he's looked pretty good there. It definitely changes his profile if he can stay at shortstop. And then the at-bats, like, look, I mean, it's like he's 21. He's hardly had any experience in the upper levels of the minors. This was his first year even at Double-A at the beginning of this year. So it's going to be a learning curve offensively, just like we've said for so many of these young guys. He's had 5 strikeouts in, 11 trips to the plate. So that's, the strikeouts are always going to be an issue for him. It's a question of how long it's going to take him to iron out some of those strikeout issues and get to the power. The main thing is getting to the power in a big league game. Like against big league quality pitching, the guy's got massive, true impact level big league power. But it's one thing to have it. It's another thing to be able to bring it into a game. And that's what we're all impatient for with Luciano. But my first impression has been very positive.
No doubt. I know it was a special weekend for you. Your younger brother calls games for the Boston Red Sox on WEEI. We've got some sound from that, Flem. I want you to tear up a little bit on these airways here. Here we go. We had to dig this up for you right here.
Well, back at beautiful Oracle Park in San Francisco for the top of the 5th. Red Sox trailing the Giants 1-0, but for now, that matters little to me. One of the real treats of my career, my big brother, David Fleming, who is the radio voice of the San Francisco Giants, joins us for the 5th. Big brother, great to have you.
Great to be here on the, let me get it right, the Shaw Star Market WEI Red Sox Radio Network. Did I get it?
You got it.
Can you tell that I listen to a lot of Red Sox radio?
You
listen
better.
to my little brother.
I always put you guys on the way home. I drive back to Rhode Island.
That's great.
How cool was that for you, man? He's got, I'm sure your daughters love seeing their uncle. You get to see little bro at the yard, and you're going to be able to do this every single season now with both teams playing each other every year with the new scheduling format. How cool was that for you, Flem?
Every year. It was really fun. It was great. And the Giants and John and everybody did it. They came over, and Will came over and did an inning with me. I went over and did an inning with him, so we had a little swap. Took a lot of pictures, had a lot of laughs. It was really fun. I mean, I try hard not to make it about me. It's not about me. It's about the players. People tune in to listen to the games and watch the games for the Giants, for the players on the field. But I do appreciate that for a couple innings, for one day, I could have a little fun with my bro, because it was great. It was great for our family. You're right. My daughters were thrilled to be there with them. We had a great weekend. It wasn't just on Sunday. It was all weekend long. And the Giants did an awesome job of making him feel welcome. Everybody in the ballpark, all the security guards and the clubhouse personnel, everybody was coming up to him and saying hi to him. So I think he felt pretty special. It was great.
No, it's pretty cool. I have 6 brothers myself, Dave, so I could only imagine.
Wow.
6.
Yeah,
I'm one of 10. I got 3 sisters, 6
one of
brothers.
10, Flem.
Big Italian family. Yeah, lots to go around. But yeah, I could only imagine being at the height of your craft, both of you at the same. And these are 2 elite franchises, the Boston Red Sox and San Francisco Giants. Like, you pinch yourself at the end of a day like that, Dave. Like, I really just got to do that with my little brother.
Yeah, I mean, think about the offices we have. Like, I go to work at Oracle Park, he goes to work at Fenway. That is pretty lucky. I'm hoping one of these days, because it just feels like it should happen, doesn't it? It happened way back in the early days of baseball, but not since, where the Giants and the Red Sox met in the World Series. I really really am hoping that someday we get to experience that. I think we will. I think we will someday.
I thought we were going to get the Giants-Yankees back in 2010, but the Rangers ended up beating them. I was really rooting for that one, and then obviously ended up winning the World Series, so it was great there. But yeah,
that would have been cool.
God, Giants-Red Sox would be sick.
So did you let him sleep on a couch, Flem? Where did you? What did he clean up after himself? What was the protocols there?
we kind of divided it up. He stayed with us one of the nights and stayed at the hotel a couple of the nights. He was over at our house a bunch. Yeah, we were kind of shuttling him around, and we did a lot of stuff. I mean, it wasn't just baseball. Because Will used to live here when I was first with the Giants.
Right.
Will was in San Francisco, and he took care of my kids when they were little, and so that we did a lot of family stuff with him. Did some tourist stuff. We went over to North Beach and had some pizza, and I took him out and we played golf together. So it was like a vacation week. I was glad to see him go. I was tired.
Yeah, no. That's awesome, man. No, that was really cool, man. We heard that over the weekend, man, and it dawned on me. We forgot to ask you last week about it. I was like, man, your little bro is coming to town, so that was really cool. Wanted to end on that note. Have you been keeping up with 49ers stuff, the training camp battles of the quarterback? Because, boy, you've been here in this market for a long time.
Stay away, Dave.
It doesn't get quarterbacks in San Francisco. It doesn't get people going. Like, people get going when it comes to the quarterbacks at the 49ers.
Why is it? Just educate me. I've been staying up on it, sure, a little bit, but why is it I don't understand. It seems to me pretty clear after the way last year played out,
right,
as long as he's healthy and gets healthy by the start of the year, that Purdy is the guy. Am I wrong about that?
Purdy's definitely the leader to start the season. There's no doubt, and he definitely earned it. He earned it. I think it's more so that Brendan Allen, who's been a journeyman quarterback, is getting reps, and there's murmurs that, you know what, they may keep Brendan Allen and decide to part ways with Trey Lance. And I think a lot of fans, including myself, thinking, well, I think I want to see a little more Trey.
That would be a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a problem. I'm trying to be kind here. We're dealing with the professional here at Flem. I can't go Radio Bonds and Flem, but
I can.
But it just feels like, man, Trey, we just haven't seen it. And when you consider the compensation they spent for him, that's a massive blunder if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it probably already has been, right? I mean, not to be a downer, but I think, if Brock's your guy, then you've already sort of spent those draft picks and whatnot. I mean, I guess I would say this, because I think you're right about that, in a vacuum. But I always think to myself, Kyle Shanahan, how many better quarterback guys are there on planet Earth than that guy? Yeah. 2, he's the guy you would call. If you want an evaluation on a quarterback, I think Kyle Shanahan would be the guy. And so if he really thinks we need to move on, this guy's not going to help us, then I would probably trust that. I mean, that would be sobering, and that would really emphasize how big of a miss that was. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah. Hopefully, camp reps are just camp reps. Right. But I do always tell myself, the guy that's in the building with the player, in the locker room with the player, who has all the expertise, and it's in his interest for the player to shine, is the one telling us it's not going to happen. Right. Maybe his opinion matters more than mine.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Sam Darnold getting a lot of reps. He looks a lot better in the system as well. Flem, big week for the Giants, so we'll see what they do at the deadline. They got to get going here. Another Bay Bridge series over the weekend at the Oakland Coliseum, but they got to figure out a way to at least get a split against the Diamondbacks, and it's going to be tough tonight against Zach Gallup, but Alex Cobb is on the mound, so it should be a dynamic pitching matchup down there at Oracle Park. Flem, take care. We'll talk to you next week.
Got to get those bats going. If they do, I think, like you said, they're in good shape, but got to get those bats going. We'll talk to you next week.
No doubt. Thanks for the time, Flem. Flem here on No Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. David B. Fleming, of course. Caller K with his brother. That was pretty cool.